I mean, you guys are bound by that contract. I know, I've been on that side of it where I've explained to people, it's not the board's fault. It's the, you know what I mean? That's the comprehensive study. There's nothing we can do. If you're zoned for industrial, it's industrial. If you can meet the needs of the utilities, they're gonna build it. Now, what White House did do when I was there, the new mayor stepped in, and when a couple more board members, aldermen come in, they raised impact fees, they tripled the impact fees. But even yet, that's a small term solution for a long term problem. So, but there's not really much we can do. I'm familiar with growth. I've dealt with it. I've dealt with the residents. I've dealt with the people, and we did it successfully. I mean, you don't make everyone happy, but at the end of the day, it's going to happen. It's coming.
Cool. Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
You good? Okay, Director Watson.
Okay, thanks for being here. Wanted to ask you though, with that planning and talking about growth and down the road, what type of experience do you have at making a 5, 10, 15, 20-year plan in your previous jobs?
About 20 years I've been doing that. We used to do 10-year at Toho. We had a 5 to 6 year plan, and we took it out even to 10 years. And then when I was at White House, we had a 6 year plan. But I went to 6 year because we're taking it to the board for approval, so we then would check all our numbers and stuff. But yeah, I've been doing that, like I said, about 20 years now. You know, again, that's a moving target. You know, today, kind of like the strategic plan I read through both of your strategic plans. I mean, is that even, you know, up to date? You know, because there's always a moving target. So, but you do the best with what you got. You know, you think, okay, we might need that pump in 4 years, or we may need to update that substation in 5 years. You just don't know, because the priorities are always going to change, especially with, you know, with people's ideals. You're going to always have to move that. But you do the best you can with what you got. But yeah, I've been doing that for quite some time now. And it usually works pretty good, but there's always going to be a hiccup where you got to move stuff around. Or even if it comes into the budget, they approve it, you got to pull it because something went up, or lead time, or something like that. So it always happens, it seems like. So,
What type of system do you believe is that you're dealing with maybe now, or that you would think about implementing that would cultivate employees to where we're growing our own leadership inside our organization that you're using now, or you've experienced in the past?
yeah, I'm an example of that. When I did my associates, my bachelor's, and my master's, Toho paid for every bit of my education. When I was at White House, they paid for my CPM course. So I'm a big believer, if we have a policy for tuition reimbursement, that we utilize that. We tell the employees, hey, get trained up. You know, we want to invest in you. We want to invest in the city. So how about we invest in them, and we promote them from within instead of like pulling me from the outside. You know what I mean? Oxymoron there, but yeah, I mean, you always want to try to promote from within. You know, I'm a firm believer in that. And if we have the resources and tools to give that, we do it.
Okay, how do you make sure though that the right employees are being, you know, pushed toward those type of projects?
Well, it's our job to make sure we identify those folks. You know, everyone that's bored is a go-getter. You know, you're not up there just because you don't want to be here. I'm here because I'm a go-getter. I want to be something. So we got to find those women and men that are out in the field that say, hey, I want to do something. I want to do better. You know, and we pluck them out and we talk to them. But again, it's about talking to your employees on the front end when you're hiring them. What are your long-term goals? Tell me what you want to do. If they say, you know, when they come as a meter reader, say, well, hey, you know, in about 2-3 years, we're going to start, close the meter reader team down. It's going to start shrinking because of the AMR system. It's going to be drive-bys. So I was like, what are your long-term goals? You want to be a water operator? You want a wastewater operator? We give them the tools. We give them the books. They can study them. And then when an operator training position comes open, we shift them over. I've already had a couple do that since I've been there 9 months. So that's a success story for sure.
Okay. And the accountability that you know, if you were to gain this position and you were to be able to, you know, acquire the team of directors that we currently have, you know, the head of each department, how, you know, what type of, what do you see your first 90 days with those folks as far as trying to, you know, how would you handle the first 90 days?
Well, same thing. I'll bring them in, have our bi-weekly meetings, discuss them, get their questions, concerns, what their ideals. You know, I'm sure everyone's got an idea. New face sitting here, I'm sure they're gonna want to tell me what their ideas are. But again, I want to also bring them together. I don't want just one idea. I want it to be a joint decision. You know, like I can't think of an example off the top of my head, but just, I wanna make sure it's a team effort. But I wanna sit down with the employees, talk to them, see where they're going, see where they're headed, see what we can do for them as well. Everybody has a need, and they may be differently, but sometimes they might align. So we try to, intertwine that together and move forward together, so.
One more question,
Okay.
if it's okay. So you would be working you'd be working through two different, set of folks, the council and the utility board. So how would you communicate with us? I mean, what would you between working through two different set of folks, how are you gonna keep up with us?
Well, we'll establish clear communication channels, obviously, so we'll have to figure out a way, like, if you guys prefer phone calls, memos, emails, we'll figure out a strategy, and then we'll stick to that. So if it's a big project going on, and I have to keep both boards involved, I'll make sure I do it through regular communication. And we'll have a agreed upon, hey, every day, give me an update, or every week, give me an update on that project. And I can send emails, or however you guys want me to communicate that through both boards, I'll do it.
I have a problem with time management.
I do not, but I have a problem when people don't follow time management, if that makes sense. So in other words, if your time's set in 3:30, and if you're early, you're on time, if you're on time, you're late. So I don't want people walking the door, putting the boots on at 7:01 or 7:02, then go and grab that cappuccino, and then getting a hot dog from 7-Eleven, and then that's all downtime. Because if we have a high level of service, we've got to be out the door at 7 o'clock, 7:15 the latest, or 7:30. Because we have to do PTPs, which is a pre-task plan, so they gotta go on the computer, they gotta fill out their stuff, and then they can get out the door. But yeah, the expectations there are pretty. The reason why I say that is because, again, it's a high level of service, and if we're not meeting our goals, I have to look at why we're not meeting our goals. I just can't sit back. And sometimes that happens. You find people sitting under a tree. So 3 weeks ago, we found 2 meter readers under a tree. I'm not kidding you. So I talked to the lead of the meter crew, and I said, "You do me something. I need you to do me a favor." He's like, "What's up?" I show him the screens. You need to go out there and disperse them. Because what happens is, too, the public sees that. It's gonna make me look bad, and it's gonna make you guys look bad. And I don't want that. I'll try to make sure I make you guys look as good as possible, and so we don't hear that. I mean, we're always gonna have a complaint here and there, but try to set that expectation.
One word, describe your management style.
One word. Can I say awesome? No. One word. Man, you got me on that one. One word. Thorough. Very thorough.
Thorough.
Thorough. Yes, sir.
Okay. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Okay, I'll finish up the last question here, and if there's a follow-up, we can throw that in. We will give you time to ask us questions as
Yes,
well.
sir.
I know with your involvement with utilities and government and public meetings and those kind of things, you know the importance of having a concise agenda,
Yes, sir.
and that leads our discussion, that helps us make informative decisions if we have an accurate, concise agenda, the importance of that. So me being in this position for the last, interim position for the last 12 months, I've seen the importance of that, and also the struggles of it, because not everybody meets the deadlines, not everybody meets the timeline, not everybody gives you the information you need to form that agenda that both the board and the council need. So I guess, how would you manage that process? Because there's two different boards. We have multiple department heads, we have external partners that want stuff on the agenda as well. So how would you go about making sure that that is done and it's accurate, timely, and I guess coordinated?
Well, it starts with the, obviously the communication, be upfront, I would like to see, he was asking about the program earlier, I wanna see a timeline of events, and if we're not meeting those, let's get ahead of it, let's see why. Obviously, we know the lead times right now are ridiculous, so we gotta be realistic with our time frames too, but what I don't wanna see is contractors coming into this city, because I've seen it before, they're trying to take advantage of the city, and then they're saying, well, we need more money. Not for me, not. Sorry, but just because it's lead time, you should have factored it into your cost initially, not to my cost, because I'm not gonna come up with an extra amount of money. But to answer your question, just to communication, I wanna see a timeline from the And I'm very involved with the projects that we did, and we had pretty good timelines. But I just give you an example, we started that wastewater project, I believe it was in 2021. When I left in 2024, the beginning, they were still working on it. It was supposed to be done a year earlier, because all the lead times. And you wanna talk about change orders, I hated going to the board and standing there asking for 150,000 a year or 200,000 there. I started getting to the point where I brought the engineers in, the contractors, and said, you're gonna explain to them. I said, I'm not gonna explain. Well, I said, I'll introduce you, and I said, you get yelled at. But it's a necessary evil, you know what I mean? You can't always prevent it, but we can only do what we can with the data that we have, you know? I try to do my best to mitigate some of that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just, it happens, you know? And I hate to say it that way, because I mean, it costs money, time is money, but I'll do my darndest to make sure we're not getting let go of the cold by any contractor, because I don't tolerate that.
Okay. Anybody have a follow-up question from council? Anyone? There was nothing from utility board, follow-up? Gene, you have one, anybody? Okay, Andrew, like you give us opportunity to answer some of your questions if you have them.
I read so much about the city of London in the last 2 weeks. I think I got most of my questions answered. I guess one question I would have for you guys is, what would be the, I know today you guys had 3 interviews, obviously, and I'm hoping for you guys, I pray for you guys find somebody. I know you're probably getting ready to get, you know, back in the saddle with just do the mayoral role. But what is your expectations on start date for the new city manager?
I don't think, we haven't really discussed, we'd like to, you know, it's important, that's one reason we scheduled as soon as the posting come down, we tried to get, you know, first available date we could get as far as properly advertising it and that kind of thing, so I think it's high importance to all of us here. I'm certainly looking forward to working with someone, you know, but, it's been a great experience for me just because I've got a lot closer to the staff and I'm telling you, you've got this person will have a great support system with staff. They definitely know their job and what to do. I couldn't have survived in this role this long without, I mean, they've carried the bulk of the work, I'll just be honest. But I think realistically, you know, if we have somebody in place by the first of the year, by the time we make the offer, they transition here, I mean.
The reason why I was asking that was because of that very reason, because typically, in, you know, director role, you get 30 days.
Yeah.
Then I'm thinking in my head, and I'm not saying out of position, I'm just saying, just hypothetically, you know, do you get to December, you got skeleton crew, with all the holiday, I don't wanna like pay money for vacation or for holidays or what have you, so that's why I was asking what your expectations.
I mean, I think realistic first of the year is what we're looking at, and that's kind of what, I don't, does anybody feel any different about that?
No.
I mean, I think a decision, an offer will be made hopefully quickly, and then there'll be an acceptance of that offer and a transition period. You know, I think realistically, that's the goal. First of the year, I think would be very timely. Do you have any other
That's one
questions?
question I had.
I think we have Officer Nix is gonna be here to take you around, and wish you the best, Andrew. Thank you for your time and your presentation you put together and spending time with us.
Thank you.
Wish you the best. Okay, thank you.
Thank you for being